Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. In the previous video, I talked about the Senate Majority Leader shooting down the $900 billion Senate bipartisan plan from both Republicans and Democrats. Well, the targeted plan from the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, called the Senate GOP Targeted Relief Package. That's what this is called, the Senate GOP. GOP, by the way, is Grand Old Party, which is an abbreviation for the Republican Party. The Senate GOP Targeted Relief Package that is going to be proposed by the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to his fellow Republicans in the Senate is now available, and I'm going to walk you through it in this video. I want to know what you think in the comment section below. Let's just jump right in. So let's get started with this. The provision would rescind all unused money from the 13(3) lending facilities, allowing those funds to be used for other important purposes. Guess what? This is like a game of chess. This move has already happened because the US Treasury Secretary actually pulled that money back, and that money is now available for the Senate to use, which is right around $550 billion. So let's just jump into some of the important segments here. Redirects unobligated CARES funding. So $140 billion of CARES funding in unspent CARES Act funding is now going to be reallocated for this stimulus. Now, as you can see on page 1 of this proposal is the COVID liability relief, which is very important for Republicans. So this says here, the Safe to Work Act promotes reopening the economy and schools and helps fight the pandemic. It includes liability protection for COVID-related personal injury claims against businesses, COVID-related medical malpractice claims, expansion of the PrEP Act to cover additional countermeasures, and protections from liability under labor and employment laws for businesses that help fight COVID. Basically, the Senate Majority Leader is trying to do away with frivolous lawsuits. Also, it creates federal causes of action for personal injury and medical malpractice laws and preempts conflicting state laws. In other words, this would supersede what is happening at the state level. Doing so promotes uniformity and precludes trial lawyers from gaming the system. The idea is that a lawyer shouldn't say, the state allows this, but then if the federal government mandates something and if Congress passes this legislation and the president signs it, then that limits options as far as trial lawyers are concerned. And it says here the protections of this liability protection will apply to hospital healthcare workers, small and large businesses, schools, colleges and universities, religious, philanthropic and other non-profit institutions, and local government agencies. In other words, this would not be just for businesses, and that is something that the Senate Majority Leader has emphasized before. Now, I want to mention one thing. President Trump, at this point in his presidency, the President Trump, towards the end, towards what is projected to be the end of his presidency. Now, why do I say this? Because of the Electoral College system, because of what Attorney General Bill Barr said today, and I've covered that elsewhere on our channel. It's possible that the president, towards the very end of his presidency, could agree to something that the Senate Republicans want, which, by the way, will be significantly targeted, as opposed to something that is close to $1 trillion, something that was bipartisan. He's definitely not going to sign something that is in the $2 trillion range. That's not even going to get through the floor of the Senate unless things change in Georgia, and by that time, it's going to be a new Senate and it's going to be a new president. So at this point in time, it is possible that this somehow gets through. The question is, how will the House Democrats react? And it is possible that President Trump actually signs something like this. So let's continue with this. So this bill from the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell includes what he calls assistance for working families, the PUA 1-month extension. So this would include a 1-month extension to the PUA program, which is scheduled to expire at the end of December. So this says that the PUA program would be extended by 1 month and it would end on the 31st of January 2021 rather than the 31st of December 2021, and it would allow for a phase out involving a 2-month period after January 31st. In other words, after that, new claimants would not be allowed into the program, but those who are already receiving assistance for whatever, they would receive assistance for whatever period they had remaining. This process would also establish guardrails against fraud. I've covered this elsewhere on our channel. There's been a lot of fraud, a significant amount of fraud with the PUA program, and it would include requirements that benefit that applicants must provide documentation within 21 days of applying for this as long as they were self-employed. So right now that documentation is not needed, which is why there has been a lot of fraud. So pretty interesting comments here. Also, the PEUC program, there would be a 1-month extension to the PEUC program. So let's take a look at what the Senate Majority Leader is proposing here. The CARES Act created the PEUC program that allows for an extra 13 weeks of unemployment insurance for those who've exhausted their state unemployment compensation benefits. This provision, according to the Senate Majority Leader, would extend the PEUC program by 1 month so that it would end on the 31st of January 2021 rather than the 31st of December, and also allow for a phase out involving a 2-month period after January 31st, during which new assistance claimants will not be allowed into the program, but those who are already receiving assistance will, similar to the PUA provision, continue to receive assistance for whatever remains of their eligible weeks of assistance. So here's another part of the proposal from the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. We've had the Paycheck Protection Program. The Senate Majority Leader is now proposing the continuing the Paycheck Protection Program. It would provide additional assistance to the hardest hit small businesses that are struggling to recover from the effects of the pandemic. On your screen, you'll see the provisions that the Senate Majority Leader is proposing. Establishes a second round of the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, for eligible businesses. Now, the definition of eligibility for a second round of PPP loans is very interesting. That would be small businesses that meet the applicable SBA revenue size standard, have no more than 300 employees, and demonstrate at least a 25% reduction in gross revenues between quarters in 2019 and 2020. It would also include set-aside money to support first-time PPP borrowers with 10 or fewer employees, second-time PPP borrowers with 10 or fewer employees, first-time PPP borrowers who have been made newly eligible, because there were a lot of businesses that simply were not able to get funding with the first round of the Paycheck Protection Program, and second-time returning PPP borrowers. And it provides for set-asides for loans for community lenders. One of the big problems with the first version of the Paycheck Protection Program was that big banks were able to get a large amount of money and were able to distribute it to their preferred clients. So community banks, smaller banks, simply were like, they didn't have the money, they didn't get the money, and they didn't have the infrastructure to be able to help smaller businesses that did not have relationships with the Bank of Americas of the world, the Wells Fargos, the JP Morgans of the world. That was a big problem with the first version of the Paycheck Protection Program. The maximum loan size up to $2 million would equal 2.5 times the average total monthly payroll costs, plus up to $50,000 for covered worker protection expenditures. And so this is essentially a tightening, if you will, of the Paycheck Protection Program, and the 60-40 cost allocation for payroll and non-payroll costs to receive full PPP forgiveness, which, by the way, was a standard with the first version of the PPP program. There were some amendments to that standard that's going to essentially apply. And as you can see on your screen, there are some improvements to the Paycheck Protection Program in this targeted bill that's been proposed by the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. And you can see all of the 4 points that highlight how the Paycheck Protection Program in its second iteration is going to be more targeted, is going to be improved, is going to provide farm credit institutions with greater certainty and equity. So in other words, it's going to make the program more targeted to businesses who need help the most. It's going to allow more widespread availability, specifically to smaller banks and smaller institutions, and also simplifying the forgiveness application for smaller loans. Now, in case you're thinking, what does all of this have to do with me? Where's the stimulus check? Think about it. If small businesses can get the money and they are required to use that money, a portion of that money towards payroll, that means more people get their jobs back. Hopefully that means that businesses that were on the verge of closing permanently now manage to reopen. So what's the bottom line of this targeted stimulus plan from Mitch McConnell? Well, you see this tweet on your screen from Heather Long from the Washington Post. She did a good job summarizing it, so full credit to her. The McConnell plan is $333 billion in stimulus. That's approximately 1/3 of the proposal that we saw earlier today, and that is significantly smaller than the $2 trillion proposal, 1/6, if you will, of the $2 trillion proposal that the Democrats were pushing for. In fact, they were pushing for $2.2 trillion. So if you want to be really technical, it's less than 1/7 of what the Democrats originally wanted. So the McConnell plan, which is a $333 billion proposed stimulus, On your screen, Heather Long from Washington Post. It includes a second round of the Paycheck Protection Program funding for small businesses, which I already discussed in this video, a live venue fund for theaters in an effort to get the entertainment industry up and going, liability shield for businesses, which has always been important for Republicans, a 1 month extension of the PUA program and the PEUC program, no stimulus checks, no aid for state and local governments, nothing. And by the way, I have done other videos talking about the importance of aid for state and local governments. No aid for transit, no aid for housing, none of that. No additional unemployment benefit extensions beyond what we already have, which is the state unemployment benefits. So just a bit of an extension for the PUA and the PEUC program, but no additional unemployment benefit extensions, which means no boosters of any kind. No $300 a week booster that was there in the Senate bipartisan $908 billion plan. No booster of any kind beyond the state unemployment benefits. And again, re-emphasizing that, you see this tweet on your screen from Jeff Stein, also from the Washington Post. McConnell is circulating a plan with no state and local aid, only one additional month of PUA and PEUC, like I mentioned before, no additional stimulus checks, the proposed liability shield from Senator John Cornyn, no money for transit agencies. And so I think it's clear that this is going to be a non-starter for Democrats. So that was part one of my video where I highlighted the Senate GOP targeted relief package. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll be doing another video where I cover the other aspects of the Senate GOP targeted relief package. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. You'll find a link in the description section to all of our resources. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you don't know anything about me, check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. Get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000, and you'll get added to our SMS alerts list moving forward. Now, if you want, you can also get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and you'll get added to our email list going forward. You'll get breaking news, you'll get alerts. If I release any training programs, you'll get information about those as well. You can opt out of the SMS list or the email list at any point in time that you want. No worries about that. Now, keep in mind, sometimes YouTube does not always send out notifications on time when we release new content. All you have to do is simply bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. And then you can visit the homepage of our channel, and then you can watch our videos at any point in time that you want. You're not dependent on notifications from YouTube. Speaking on notifications, if you want to follow us on Instagram, follow us at ignition_time. That's our handle, ignition_time on Instagram, and you'll get exclusive news and content on Instagram. Speaking of exclusive news and content, you can get breaking news alerts from us on Twitter. Simply follow us at ignition_time on Twitter as well, and you'll get breaking news and alerts from us on Twitter, so make sure you do that. As always, if you learned something new from this video, please consider clicking the like button. Please ignite that subscribe button. Please ignite that notification button, because the name of our channel is Ignition Time. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. Please share this video with friends and family if you learned something new, because our goal is to give you honest news, true news. We're not going to give you any false hope or hype on this channel. This is not a one-dimensional channel. This is a channel about the country, about the economy, and about money. This is not just a channel on stimulus news and unemployment benefits. This channel will help you get to the next level, because I have big goals, big aspirations for my viewers, for my subscribers, and for the community. You'll find a link to all of our resources in the description section below, so you can verify any of the content. You can check out the content on your own at any point in time that you want. And please comment below. Engage with our community. Our community is bipartisan, it's respectful, it's intelligent. You might make some new friends in our community. So make sure you engage in a healthy debate, a healthy, respectful debate in our community. Thank you so much for watching. One last time, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.